800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Liberty, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise! Keep making noise! Yeah!
What's up with you, Northwest Florida? You're now riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Coach Brian Haddad, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We are your home for Auburn Tiger basketball, and they've got a big game coming up. Wednesday evening, I believe they have the Duke Blue Devils. New AP poll dropped for basketball, and they're up there, I believe, number 2. So great start to their season on the basketball side of things. Not the greatest ending in the world if you're an Auburn Tiger football fan, but, you know, both of us in this building this afternoon are on the flip side of that. Coach Brian Haddad, man, how are you doing? And what are we going to dive into today, man?
Well, there's plenty.
I
would like to say I haven't watched a ton of college basketball. I've watched more than I usually do this time of year.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a team better than Auburn yet.
I haven't watched.
They're good.
I haven't watched a single.
They're good. Alabama's talented. They'll gel a little bit
they've
more.
Already lost 3.
Yeah,
I think
they'll gel more as the season goes on. Auburn's just good.
Yeah.
And they're really solid. Kansas, we'll see. A couple of injuries may really hurt them. Duke
is it almost that
Cooper Flagg and everybody else, but
how is that Cooper Flagg
good
looking?
He's good.
Is it almost Virginia-like, and not in the sense of just a strong defense, but with Auburn, you had the high expectations last year, as you really have had since Bruce Pearl took over there, and then they fall, first round for them last year, right?
So what's hard
is that chip big enough on their shoulder this year that they're looking that good?
Yes and no, but the thing that makes it difficult is the same thing that might make this easier coming out of last year, is that the team turns over so much from year to year. It's all about how that team gels. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to predict. I mean, that's what's so difficult about college basketball now, is that what Auburn has done that I can tell fairly well this year is they've gotten a few guys who've stuck around, like Johnny Broome, who's developed as he's come in and then has gotten better year after year after year, and they've augmented that with a couple of good pieces. Whereas some teams, they'll bring in a lot of talent, but they don't play well together, and so it's difficult to tell. So normally, if you were dealing with, the way it was 20 years ago where 80% of your team is back, I would say, yeah, they got a chip on their shoulder from last year and all like that.
Right.
But nowadays, you're lucky if you have 50% of your team back. So it might not really be in the ethos, but that might be a good thing. They just, hey, this is our team this year.
Turn the page and roll on.
Yeah, so they're good. They're a good basketball team. There's several teams with a lot of talent, but I haven't seen anybody who's got it together yet the way Auburn does. So.
Well, on Mondays, we normally do our best and worst of the weekend.
Plenty of that.
We got plenty of it. I'm excited to hear some of the rants that you might have on some of the things that happened in the world of college football over the weekend. But we are taking your calls and text to 850-215-6290. Simply text in your best and worst of the weekend, or call in and rap along with us, because, hey, we've got plenty of time. We're going to have Steve Barnes join us possibly at 4:20. It's been about 3 weeks and a possible since we've had him on, but he does he's been dealing with some sickness.
Yeah.
So he said that he's kind of on the mends, and I asked him if he'd be willing to try today. So we're going to try to make that happen. No RJ Starcevic. We're not going around the track. Give him a little bit of a break. Maybe we catch up with him next Monday, as the Snowball Derby is going to be over there in Pensacola, I believe. Is that this? I think it's this coming weekend, but I could be sorely mistaken. It could have happened last weekend. But we'll get RJ on soon enough to recap that along with us. And then at 5:20, as always on Mondays, it's a happy Monday because it's the PCB Hobby Takeover. You know what? Coach Brian.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of wrestling fans out here. We're not going to start off with your rant, and that does come up in our best and worst of the weekend.
I've got like 85 worsts.
And most of one of those has to do with the flag planting. Right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different opinions on that, and I gave a little bit of my piece on the Inside Drive about that today, so I'm more than willing to go back and forth on that one this afternoon. But first, though, I saw a lot of reels and whatnot on the Survivor Series War Games or whatever. First off, so I want you to give us a little bit of a recap, but I do have a question. Is that normal for them to have like two rings side by side like that?
In War Games, it is. So I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I want to go here, but
let's go.
The Survivor Series been around since probably like 88, 89, somewhere in that time frame, and it was the multi-person matches, the 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5 kind of matches. War Games was something that was in the old WCW, the old Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, WCW. It was just kind of a gimmick thing where they had two rings and this, that, or the other, and so what they've kind of done is combined it into the current Survivor Series setup. They don't do kind of the brand versus brand anymore. They'll come up with some kind of issue, and then, they'll do the War Games. It's awkward, and there were several injuries coming out of it because people aren't used to, the dual rings, and, they bring in all the weaponry and the tables and the chairs and all the gimmicks and things like that can lead to some injuries, but certainly can lead to some very, clippable moments, if you will. But no, it's something they do once a year. With that, they've gotten better about figuring out how to shoot it, like with cameras. It's kind of funny. They'll have, a camera guy in there, and how they don't get run over, I don't know. But there were a couple.
In the ring, there's a camera guy?
Yeah, well, they can kind of
like
be in between.
And the apron and whatnot.
Yeah, but so they, there were a couple of injuries coming out of it. Doesn't look like anything huge, but, but it was a fun show. It's different. They do it once a year, and it's something kind of neat. And then they had a couple where it's awkward is when they do the regular matches, and you're looking at the second ring next to it that you don't use.
Are they allowed to? Okay, so they don't ever utilize that.
No. So, but it was a pretty good event. It was kind of standard fare. They're in this mode. It's always this time of year where they're kind of treading water. And then this next couple of weeks, they'll start to do a run-up and start setting up for the Royal Rumble, which is at the end of January. And that's where things really take off, because WrestleMania is the key.
We're already to that point again.
Yeah.
That's always when I tune in, because Kyle will be like, hey, this is going on. It's always Royal Rumble.
The next couple of weeks will begin to set up what they do leading into the Rumble. And then from the Rumble to WrestleMania is the big period in wrestling every year. So
that is
something, but it was fun. It was a fun event. I got to watch it, and there was some good stuff. I was talking to Jimmy earlier today. He said he and Mike were 5 for 5 in their observations.
Oh, there you go.
So they were pretty proud of that.
And we weren't able to get them today or recap this week. But
we'll get them along soon.
Absolutely, man. Keith Dimmick chiming in saying, "Go Texas!" So I thought you were an Ohio State fan, but if you gotta,
probably not after the weekend.
We'll dive into a lot of those conversations. There was not much that tickled me more than seeing Ohio State fall to Michigan, especially with how both of their seasons have went on an individual basis, and then to really one of the few games that I was kind of locked in on throughout the entire week, basically. But anytime Ohio State goes down, it's a good day for me. Again, 850-215-6290. We are taking your calls and your texts, and you can send in your best and worst of the weekend. Let's see, what direction was I going to go there next? We did get a text in from Don. Don saying, how about the Florida Gators throwing their flag down on the Seminoles' head in the middle of the field after the Gators beat FSU 31-11. So are we just going to dive into it right now? I'm sure that we can revisit again at 5 o'clock, and we'll revisit every segment from here on out.
All right, we'll go there, but I would like to start. I'm trying to think of best. Like I said, I've got about 85 worst.
We'll get to the best and worst maybe 4:40 or 5 o'clock.
I will say this. What a job Napier and the crew have done at the University of Florida, because they were literally dead in the water. I mean, I was wholly convinced they had already moved on them.
Yeah.
And I really was. And for them to go 7-5, for them to run that gauntlet at the end of the year and beat Ole Miss and beat LSU, even though it was a wounded LSU, it's still beating LSU.
Right.
If you look at who they lost to this year, they lost to Texas A&M, all right, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, and who was the other one? They had 5 losses, but I mean, they were all great teams was the thing.
Was it? It wasn't Kentucky, was it?
No,
because they took care of business against Kentucky.
They were all good teams. I can't remember who off the top of my head right now, but it was all really good teams. And they were, so congratulations to them. Now, where we're going with this. I've ranted all year about the stupidity of the rushing the field, especially when you beat like number 22, and, how it's just this, social media moment.
Miami,
yeah. And Miami's had a great year. So, but, the rushing the field is stupid. I get it if you've done something just tremendous and amazing, but, back then, I'm not saying it was better when, I was young or whatever, but at least it was a reaction to beating somebody like you wouldn't beat every 40 years. Like I said, the Vandy one I get.
Yeah.
But, when you're beating a 6-3 team, it's because you want to go out there and take your stupid selfie.
Yeah, you want a social media appearance.
Yeah, which is, it's not even real life anyway. It's ridiculous.
Right.
That's a lot of what the stupid flag planting is, too, but it's players now doing it. I'm like, You're getting your 15 minutes. You're on television, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And look, Baker Mayfield, we should have stomped it out then. The funny thing is, a couple of years back when Metcalf did the little dog pee thing like that, they forget 2 years earlier it happened.
Well, yeah, it was Elijah Moore.
And Metcalf had started it, right?
Done it, yeah.
And so that's what I mean. You don't stamp it out up front, and then everybody thinks, I'm going to get my little moment on social media and all like this. Won't I be cool because a bunch of people I'm never going to meet were going to like it?
Paying homage, man. That's paying homage.
Look, this is me screaming, get off of my internet lawn, because I think it's stupid.
Get off my greenscape.
I also hate it just because it's a stupid thing to do, because you're guaranteeing a fight. It's just dumb. No, it is because look, if you're the home team, you've got to stand up. You can't let that happen.
It's so I get that. I do understand it from that.
You're guaranteeing it.
You are, but you also as coming in as a road dog, especially a road dog. Like when Florida's doing it, it's like, did you really expect any other thing?
You're Florida.
Right. If we're talking about Florida, right?
No, if you're Florida and you beat FSU by 20 in their place, is that not enough? Is it not enough Michigan? Is it not enough NC State?
I disagree with the Michigan thing. I disagree, and I think situationally, just the same way that, all right, you can get behind Vanderbilt's storming of the field, but some of the other ones, most of the other ones.
I don't like this flag thing,
right,
regardless.
I'm just pointing something out, like the differences situationally and where I agree with you, where I disagree with you. I don't think Florida should have been the whole flag planting. However, if we go back to last year, Florida State was kind of doing the same thing with the Gator head. Yeah, you're right. Not saying neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, if a team does decide to do that, yes, it is going to antagonize them more, tick them off. I'll tell you this, like what Florida State's head coach did, Mike Norvell, to me, highly supersedes anything that any of the players did. We're talking about kids that are 18, 19, 20, maybe 21 years old. Some of them, if you go to Miami and you're a tight end, the Methuselah of college football, and McCormick, you might be a little bit older there, but they're young. They are influenced by the outside world, the world of social media as well. And so I can't expect them to do everything correctly, right? Now,
no, I get it.
They should have just been handling their business and act like they've been there before, right? Like 7-5. You're 7-5. You just beat a team who was 2-9 to make them 2-10. They've got one win against a Power 5 team. Shouldn't have even gotten that win, if we're being quite frank, because of Cal's kicker. Make some field goals.
They're doing it because it's a rival.
Right, and I'll give them that. Whereas with Michigan's and the hatred there, Florida State has a very similar hatred as Michigan, Ohio State do, but you're a huge underdog. You're a huge underdog. No one's counting you in, and you have the opportunity there, and you take it.
I'm going to stretch the limits of my Mississippi education.
Let's go.
It's unnecessarily provocative.
All right.
You don't need to do it. It's dumb because all it is guaranteeing. Norvell had to react the way he did. If he doesn't, it's like, oh my God, you've gone 2-10 and you're just letting Florida do this to it. Like, now his job's in jeopardy. I've got this figured out.
All right.
I figured out
you got it all figured out.
I figured out how to solve both of my issues at the same time.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Here we go.
I got no problem anymore with people jumping over and storming the field, and I have no problem anymore with people planting flags.
Okay.
Here's how we're going to do it. Anybody who jumps and tries to storm the field, I'm going to plant a flag in your forehead. And now we're done. Now we can do both.
Have a lot of
so
flags,
everybody's happy, and everybody's off of my lawn.
You got to have a lot of flags.
I hate it.
For that.
I really do. I hated the flag thing. I thought it was disgusting this weekend. I just did.
I just think, here's my thing is in the past, I think that we've seen a lot of flag planting before. The problem, though, for me is that the retaliation factor, because you've got 60 minutes to prove that this is your home field, and then you don't do that, well, they get to celebrate. It would be the same way if you're, storming.
Here's how you celebrate. I watched the Egg Bowl for years. Here's how you celebrate. Those guys run down there, and then, look, there were plenty of times Ole Miss won that game in Starkville. Mm-hmm. They run down there, they grab that egg, and then they run it all across the field, and they said they're fine. That's fine. I get it. We should have beat you like that.
Yeah.
The stomping on the logos and the flags and the trying to wipe out the paint and all, it's just dumb.
I think defacing, I don't think planting a flag is defacing a stadium at all. And you can have that pride factor, but it's still I don't agree with. And then the whole way that Norvell went about it with Billy Napier not shaking his hand. I get sticking up for your guys, but he should have shook his hand. I liked that he checked Napier on it, and I liked that Napier agreed with him. Yeah.
I thought Billy Napier handled it about as well as anybody, to be perfectly honest, because I do think it bothered him. I think it really did. I think he very much was like, that's not how we're going to do things here. So I get it. If I'm Norvell, I would have shook his hand, brought him in, and just said, look, this is ridiculous, this, that, or the other nonsense. But,
But when you have
hindsight,
hindsight, no doubt.
But if I'm Norvell, I'm also thinking I've got to make a major show of this because my job's on the line.
And you do bring up a very valid point there. Especially, it would be different if both teams are coming into that game at 6-5.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm 100% fine with planting of the flag and all. I know that we right, and we disagree on that, and that's 100% fine because there's plenty of people on both sides. Mm-hmm. For me, it's more or less it's not more or less. It's 100% the retaliation from the players afterwards. And I get, you got to stick up for your home field, but the thing is they just embarrassed you on your home field. Florida versus Florida State, not Mississippi State, Michigan, Ohio. I mean, that's the one to me that got the whole thing started, right? Because Georgia Tech and Georgia, if Georgia Tech wins, there at Friday evening, right? Do you think that we're seeing flag planting on Friday night?
I mean, honestly, it goes all the way back to I can still remember back in the 90s. I think maybe it was early 2000s. It was it Terrell Owens when he was with the Niners ran out to that star and George Teague lit him up.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, unnecessarily
but that was before
provocative.
A game, though, right?
Well, no, it was after a score.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
But
that's right.
It's just, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm never gonna like it. It's just, I thought it was dumb, and I thought it took away from some great moments because all we're talking about in the media are these three incidents, and we forget that these were three great road wins.
Was it just three? I mean, you had Arizona
State,
major
ones.
You had North Carolina and North Carolina State. That might have been, had those records been better, that might have been one of the nastiest was North Carolina and North Carolina State. The thing is now these players, which, it's not in, what was it, in Michigan, Ohio State, I think that they gave a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct to all of the players on both teams. So if you would have got another one, you would have been ejected.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game at that point in time was pretty much out of hand. It's wild. But the thing is now these are programs who really don't have black eyes on them, right? Like Ohio State, maybe some people look at them like that. Ohio State and Michigan are not necessarily going to see eye to eye, but as far as being professional for the most part, Ohio State normally is. I think here in this year of 2024, teams have showed their tail a little bit more. I mean, you go to Alabama and Auburn, right? What was that?
It's what's rewarded. It's the nature of social media. It's
the nature of
it's what gets
publications in
clicks
general.
and likes and views and reels and all these other words I don't understand, but it's what it is. And, it's everybody's 15 minutes. That's what I'm saying. I get it from fans.
Yeah. But from players,
you're getting your 15 minutes. I mean, you're getting your 60 minutes. I don't know. I know they're kids. I got it. Yeah, I'm willing to understand it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it because I think it's awful.
No, and I think the fact that you don't like it, and I'm okay with it to an extent, I think makes it a little bit better.
Just showing my age. That's perfect.
Well, and it's healthy to have the disagreements while still being able to see each other's perspective.
I'm not going to never watch college football again. I just didn't like what I saw.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but if they make them go one and done, Brian's out of there.
There were some great football games.
There really was. There was a lot of good football games, really across the board. A lot of great upsets. Some games that maybe were a little bit closer than what you expected. And I think that it's been the epitome of this season of 2024. Not only teams, showing their tails a little bit more, a ton of storming the field, flag planting on the final weekend, but a lot of great games that you just had no idea how they would go on to be decided. I mean, Kansas and Baylor, for crying out loud. Yeah, Baylor came in with a better record, but Kansas was hot as all get out for 3 weeks in a row, and then Baylor's able to upend them. Well, on the other end of this break, we're going to be chatting with Steve Barnes, Lord willing, and if we do, we'll get his thoughts and opinions on the flag planting and also his best and worst of the weekend, which you can send your best and worst of the weekend right now to 850-215-6290. We'll be right back. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer. College basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.
Oh, you saw that coming, Rampant.
The biggest games play right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday afternoon. The remainder of the day, clear skies and 62 with a light breeze around 7 miles per hour out of the north. For tonight, clear skies with a light wind and a low near 43. Tomorrow, a wind out of the north-northeast 5 to 10 miles per hour, sunny and a high around 55. For Wednesday, sunshine and a high of 60. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Dak Cajun Place is your LSU and Saints football headquarters. Saints and LSU fans, wear your team colors and score a free Jell-O shot when your team scores a touchdown. Only at Dak Cajun Place. Get $5 pitchers on select draft beers during all live football games. Catch all the games at once with the NFL package on 27 large TVs at Dak Cajun Place. And the best wings on the beach. The locals' favorite, Dak Cajun Place.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
God, guns, and wrestling. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
NFL does play here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Tonight, coverage starting 6:30 for a 7:15 kick, and should be a great game of Sunday night, Monday night, whatever. Browns and Broncos. It is Monday night. Otherwise, we would be at the house. What's the Browns and Broncos?
Yeah.
You feel like that should have been flexed out of there?
That's for those who hate television.
There you go. Well, I've got a little bit of flag football practice this evening.
See, that'll be time well spent.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch Browns and Broncos.
It's actually going to be, I've been to about 10 minutes worth of practice. Probably about 20 minutes worth of practice. So this is going to be my first practice with the kids. And then we've got our first game tomorrow night. So should be a lot of fun. But also a lot of fun is being able to talk with the senior writer for the rebelwalk.com. That is Steve Barnes. Steve, it's been a little while. How was your Thanksgiving, my friend?
Hey, just missed you guys.
Yeah, man, we
good to hear from you, Steve. I was starting to get worried that little newspaper was jumping the gun. Might have been prophetic there on you there for a while. I was worried about you.
All I can tell you, don't get sick.
That's right.
I'll chat with my doctor about that and see how we can avoid that.
If you happen to do it in Pensacola, though, I have to tell you, there's a new Baptist hospital, and my sister took me there, and they ran me straight back to the ER and said, okay, you're not going home tonight.
Yeah.
You're staying here. Might be the nicest motel I've ever stayed at in my life.
Nice.
The place is gorgeous. I mean, it's less than 3-4 months old. The place is absolutely gorgeous, and the people there just out of this world. They just take care of you.
Excellent.
But best and worst, best, I'll go ahead and say Baptist Hospital, but I got 2 best for the weekend. I got 1 worst.
All right.
Now, the meds they got me on, they will not be on my butt. I will admit that. So I'm watching Texas A&M, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm asleep. Then I wake up, and I look up, and it's like, A&M scored?
Yeah.
How?
Not offensively.
Then I saw the highlights. Best Texas defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they play like that in the playoffs, nobody's going to beat them.
Yep.
How wild is that, too, when we talk about Steve Sarkisian, when we think of him, he's more of an offensively minded head coach and was a great offensive coordinator as well. And the defense has really helped him slug through this real tough SEC schedule that they face this year. And I'm being highly sarcastic about that.
But I'm just telling you, those guys, if they're on their game, show me somebody's going to beat them. Yeah. It's going to be tough.
I agree with that. But go ahead with your next worst.
Second best.
Oh, second best.
And Brian, sorry about this, but it's after the Egg Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking about planting flags and stuff like that. And what happened in Oxford after the game?
I know.
Jackson Dart found Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And I think they hugged for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they both know I would not be where I am without you.
Right.
Yeah.
You just don't see that appreciation anymore.
That's right.
The worst, what are you doing, West Virginia? Why are you firing Neil Brown?
Mm-hmm. I saw that and thought about you, Steve. I saw that cross the wire.
There's 2 things that's going to come out of this. One is somebody's going to get a great offensive coordinator next year.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is when Stoops leaves Kentucky, John Summerall's getting the job.
Okay. What do you think
especially if they beat Army this weekend and win the AAC? Because that would be 3 straight conference titles for Summerall.
Yeah. Do you think there's any possibility to the rumors? It sounds crazy, but this college football we've seen crazier. That Jimbo could end up at West Virginia.
Why not? I mean,
like where he's from, he's got money for life.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, with this season,
yeah.
I mean, come on. It would make perfect sense to me. You could probably pay him at a premium, get your money's worth because he's already got, he already owns pretty much, College Station, Texas.
Yeah, he does. Hey, that's something we always talk about, especially during the off season. But here we are. What SEC coaches do we think could be getting fired? I mean, Billy Napier looks as if he saved his job. Brian Kelly, I don't know. What do you think, Brian? You look like you had something to say there.
Here's what I'm sitting here thinking, and I wonder if Steve's thinking the same thing. I need to look this up. I can't remember. It's probably happened on a fluke, but I can't remember the last year we didn't have at least one, if not multiple SEC coaches either quit or get fired. When I really sat and thought about it, we very well may not get any. I mean, Kelly's close. I think Pittman's okay. I don't see anybody jumping. And I think Napier's fine now, so we really might not have any. And Steve, I don't know about you. I can't remember the last time that's happened.
The answer is 0, and it's because of the calendar.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, now you have to have the transfer portal, you have to have the signing day, then you have the other transfer portal after spring. How do you attract players if you don't have a coach? You've got to leave the guys now that are in place. Let's say LSU got rid of Kelly. How many recruits are you going to get from the portal?
Yep.
Who's your coach? We don't know yet.
Yep.
Well, I'm not going there. How many kids from, I don't know, John Curtis High School in New Orleans? How many of them are going to go, well, I think I want to go and play for a team that doesn't have a coach? Or I can go across the border and play at Mississippi State or Arkansas.
So are we getting to the point now in college football where if you survive the final week of the season, if you're still there after conference championship weekend, you're actually, no, because what? The transfer portal opens back up December 9th, right?
It's next week. Well, this week. I believe.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you make it through the regular season and you're, still at the helm when you're getting ready to go into conference championship weekend, are we saying that your job is safe?
I think right now we're getting to the point where if you make it through week 5 or 6,
wow,
you're good to go unless there's somebody already in place to take your job.
So, and I guess that.
So if anybody, it would have been Pittman this year with Petrino.
Yeah.
So that'd be the only one I could possibly see, but I don't see Pittman getting fired.
No chance Ryan Day is gone, right?
I don't think so.
What if they?
It's the same. It's the same deal.
For 4 or 5 years in a row.
How are you going to get some people through the portal if you don't have a coach? And there's nobody that you're going to want who's going to be available until, February 1st.
Mm-hmm. Man, so not even if it's they get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. What about then?
Well, who are you going to get?
Right, I know, and that's such a. It is the answer to that question, but I just really couldn't imagine this year of all years. Losing to Michigan the way that you have in the past few years is to some extent understandable, but when you've got a much better squad, at least on paper, and then you can't get the job done in a year like this.
So here's what's saving Ryan Day. If this happened
saving Private
again
Ryan
with another 4-team playoff,
I think
he's gone.
I think he would have been gone. Yeah,
that's but right. The fact that there's a 12-team, but let's say
you got to get somebody who's not going to be in the playoffs right now. So if you're Ohio State, you better run down to Columbia real quick and get Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
And say, I need you to sign today. We can't wait. Or, you go down, I wouldn't say Norvell. I wouldn't, you have to go somewhere and get somebody right now.
Mac Brown.
A little long on the tooth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no one out there that I can think of off the top of my head who is available, who automatically gives you that. I mean, could they Chip Kelly? Could they Just say, hey, we're
I
going
think
to
Chip Kelly'd rather be a coordinator.
Than a head coach.
You're going to start seeing more of that, too. You're seeing it with Gus Malzahn now. You're going to start seeing more of those guys, especially as they get a little older. They don't want to be the head coach.
Steve, let me ask you, what do you think about that? Gus Malzahn is going to be the new offensive coordinator over there at Florida State, basically taking a demotion to some extent, right? But, not even fired from UCF either, just resigning to go take the job as offensive coordinator over there for Florida State, staying within the state at the same time. But what do you think he brings to the Seminoles?
I think he brings in a good offense, but who's going to run it? He's got to have the players, and right now Florida State just doesn't have the players.
Oh,
yeah.
Do they bring in a quarterback? Is that the right move for the Florida State Seminoles to bring in a quarterback from the transfer portal, or do they hope that Brock Glenn or Brockmacher or whatever his name is, Kromanek?
Here's the problem with that, though, is neither of the guys who are there are anything like what a typical Gus Malzahn quarterback is. I mean, not even close.
Yeah, because you need a big fella.
DJ last year, and
right,
that certainly wasn't the answer.
Right. I'm not saying they had it right. I'm just saying neither of these guys fit in. I mean, I'm a little worried that I thought Gus Malzahn's offense was perfect 10 years ago when the rules tended to favor that more. I don't know that Gus has kept up per se on the. I mean, I think he will be an upgrade. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure getting Gus now as an offensive mind is the same as getting Gus in 2013 as an offensive mind. So, but it will be completely about what kind of quarterback can they get, and is that someone who can thrive under Gus's system? So we'll have to see.
I think Florida State, what they're really going to help, what they're really going to rue the day is when Rodemaker left to go to Southern Mississippi.
Yep.
I watched that game last week against Troy, where with Southern Miss. The kid just doesn't have any help.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to run for his life. When he throws a ball, they're not catching it. And he had no running game, and they had beat 52-20, and it wasn't that close. But the kid just had no help. And I'm thinking, well, if in Tallahassee, maybe they'd have won 3 or 4 more games.
3 or 4
if
more
that kid
games.
was there. Yeah, they only won 2.
Right.
So they might have won 6.
Yeah.
Doubling the win total, and that puts them, if they hit that 4 mark, then that would put them in, bowl eligible.
Yeah, but this poor kid just, I don't think he had a lot of help last year after, what's his name?
Jordan Travis.
Broken leg against North Alabama. When he went down with a broken leg against North Alabama, I think a lot of people checked out. And that,
the College Football Playoff Committee did.
That's what I'm thinking right now is going to be your big story in the next 2 weeks. How many schools who are not in the playoffs have double-digit opt-outs? Because why am I going to play in the Gator Bowl? Why am I play in the Music City Bowl?
Now,
I think you're going to see that. I think Ole Miss could have up to 10 or 12.
I like what Coach Sanders said about that. What Coach Deion Sanders said about that was you look at the teams who've done that, and you can't keep those kids from opting out, right, if that's the decision they make. But when you see those programs who have done it, the next years have not been very forgiving for them. You look at, the Alabamas of the world, right? They don't make the playoff, and when it was a 4-team playoff, they'd take on Kansas State. All of their guys who are high draft picks stay and play the game. I just think that that's the way to go, and I really do hope that comes to fruition, and that there's no chance Colorado makes the playoffs, so I would like to see Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter end up playing in their bowl game, and hopefully, it's not going to help Colorado for next year, but it's going to keep the ball rolling in the direction that they're headed towards.
If you're Shedeur Sanders or you're Travis Hunter, especially if you're Travis Hunter, you're going to be a, top 3 pick probably in the draft?
More than likely, yeah.
I think. Yeah. I'm not sure you're going to play against in the Sun Bowl. How excited are you to go over the middle and take a shot from a linebacker?
Hey, we're asking you to play in the game, not give 110%.
Here's what I'm worried about, and if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year. We always talk about the guys who, look, they're going off to the NFL or something like that, and they're going to opt out. That's one thing. I am waiting. I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm waiting. Let me throw out a hypothetical. I don't think it would ever happen in this case, but let's throw one out. DJ Lagway. Florida's going to play in a low-tier bowl. Now, I think he would play, but let's assume...
he's going to play.
Right, but let's assume somebody of his talent level who's going to enter on the Heisman short list next year. How many guys out there are going to go to their coach and just say, playing me in this meaningless game is an unnecessary risk and it hurts my future earning potential? And how many coaches will truly have the backbone to stand up to him? It's going to happen. If it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year with somebody.
Well, and if they stand up to him, then what's the next move for the player?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
New breaking news, LSU football just announced Louis Barnett, the SID, just retired after 25 years.
Wow. I was going to say, I've been around a while.
Just a great guy. Been around him for I don't know how many times. He would come to Troy. I'm like, what are you doing here for a women's basketball game? It's like, you guys are fun. And he was just looking, to have some fun. Tony White is the new DC at Florida State, according to the scroll. I'm not even sure who he is.
Hey, Steve, this is almost an impossible thing to get to quickly, but I've got a question for you because I can't figure it out yet. I think everybody's pretty convinced there's 11 locks in the playoffs right now. I think you've got the 4 Big Ten schools. You've got Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. You've got the ACC champ. You've got the Big 12 champ, the Group of 5, and Notre Dame. So it's 11 locks. That 12th spot, what is more likely, Alabama or the second ACC school?
Steve, you got time for another segment?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Well, let's answer that question when we get back then.
All right.
Okay, no problem.
Tease the break.
You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. When we get back, Steve Barnes is going to answer the question that Coach Brian Haddad just gave him, which is basically, who is the 12th team that's going to make it into the inaugural 12-team college football playoff? Give us a holler, 850-215-6290. Leave us with your best and worst of the weekend.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Lucid Stream TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200-plus entertainment and news networks, or watch 10,000 movies on demand, including recent theater releases. Just $41.99 a month when you use the ESPN-NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Lucid Stream TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Lucid Stream TV logo.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs on the Sports Talk Monster.
You're gonna be mine! Woo!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you are back. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I forgot to play a little bumper music there, but hey, it doesn't much matter, does it? Happy Monday at 5:20. We'll be getting you guys to the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd Mueller and Julia. Obviously, Coach Brian Haddad and David Hayes here. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. We've got Steve Barnes on the line with you guys this afternoon. And don't forget about the Coach James Hale Show, which is every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. All right, Brian, go ahead and pose that question again for the senior writer for the RebelWalk.com, Steve Barnes.
So we talked about, we basically have the 11 locks, the 4 Big Ten, the 3 SEC, the ACC champ, Big 12 champ, Group of 5, and the Notre Dame. So that's it.
And the Notre Dame.
And the Notre Dame, exactly.
I was hoping USC was going to be them this week.
What was it, 200-yard run backs?
Yeah.
Anyway. So to me, it really boils down to that last spot is either Alabama, because I don't think South Carolina will jump Alabama because of the head-to-head, or a second ACC team. And so, Steve, there's a couple different scenarios that could be. What is most likely in your mind?
I don't see a 3-loss SEC team coming in because they each just have that one negative that the committee's going to look at. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky.
Yep.
Alabama went to Oklahoma and just laid a huge egg.
I agree.
But then again, Ole Miss went to Williams-Brice Stadium and beat South Carolina like they stole something. So there's going to be some kind of legitimate, I guess, argument about putting them in there. So I can see another ACC team getting them.
So here's a scenario. Right now, okay, the championship game is now going to be SMU and Clemson, even though Miami's only got 2 losses.
Who would have saw that from like week 2 or 3, right?
The Big 12 one's the crazy one.
Yeah,
we
no
had
doubt.
Colorado and BYU penciled in there, and neither are going. But so, Steve, so it's going to be SMU and Clemson. Now, Miami's still sitting on 2 losses. Now, granted, they're 2 pretty bad losses, but I think tomorrow night, what the committee does with Miami is going to tell a lot whether Alabama has a shot or not, because let's assume the committee does what the AP did and puts Miami below Alabama. In that case, if SMU beats Clemson, I think Alabama becomes the 12. Now, if Clemson beats SMU, it gets a little hairy, but I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities there. I mean, what do you think happens there? Do you think it's SMU and Miami if SMU beats Clemson, or is it SMU and Alabama?
No, I have to go ahead and apologize because, 3 or 4 months ago, somebody sent me a question about SMU going to the ACC championship. And I'm like, there's no way. They're just not tough enough. SMU's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And, hey, after, laying there with an IV full of Ativan, you're not afraid to say, I was wrong. So, I could still see Clemson, SMU, and Miami each make it.
Well, it'd only be 2, but yeah, I mean, any of those, but... So let me pose this.
I just don't think there's going to be a 3-loss SEC team getting there.
So
which kind of sucks because that means somebody's going to go to the Independence Bowl.
Yeah. I could see that if Clemson beats SMU. I could see them keeping it, especially if it's close. I could see them. I guess the real wild card in this is if SMU beats Clemson, could Miami still go above Alabama? That's going to be the thing, and I think we're going to find out the possibility of that tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the best win Miami has is over Florida, right?
I would say,
probably.
And it's their most convincing win, too. Like, if you look at the way that Miami was able to, and hey, your job is to win the games, right? The style points will climb down the ladder a little bit, but your job's to win the game, and they did get those done, regardless if people want to believe that the referees helped them or whatever. They came out victorious. But, yeah, I would say that their most convincing win of the season, and just a win that, looking at it now, that win you're looking at week 4 or 5 is like, okay, yeah, you took care of business against the Florida Gators. They're supposed to win 4.5 games this year. Looking at it now is like, yeah, that's a pretty impressive win. But then on the flip side of that, does Miami do that if they play Florida in the Swamp today?
Well, we're not going to know that.
Yeah, but, 100%.
The thing that gets me is you can only play the team that's in front of you right then, that week. And when they beat Florida, they were convincingly the better team. Yeah. Now, when you watch Florida beat Ole Miss, or beat LSU, you're thinking, okay, that's an even better win for Miami.
Yeah.
And I can't stand Miami. I'm sorry. I just never liked the U. But I still think they can get in there. Now, I don't think they can win it.
How many teams do you give a realistic shot of winning the whole thing? Like, I'll take Alabama as an example. They've got some of the best quarters played this year, right? But then they've also looked like the worst team in college football. Okay, that's a stretch. But they've looked like a pretty bad football team, specifically there against Oklahoma, not last week, but the week prior to that. When I'm looking across the board here, and then you got Ohio State, who looked like to be if not the second best, but maybe the third or fourth best team that would be in those 12 teams, and then Michigan just went man-to-man with them and showed, not only have they already taken a loss, Ohio State, but that they're not as good as maybe what we think when they get out-physicaled, right? Which is normally the case. If you're losing in the trenches, you're probably going to lose the game. But do we really believe that Oregon is that much better than every other team? Now, number one team in the land? No doubt about it. Undefeated going into the Big Ten Championship, you should be the number one team in the land. However, do we think that this is just Oregon's college football playoff to lose, or do you think that rather?
I think Oregon right now is the leader in the clubhouse. Can I throw a dark horse in there?
You can throw in as many horses as you'd like.
If they happen to make it through this weekend, I think Arizona State can beat anybody. That Scatteraboo kid, wow. That kid, I watch Ole Miss every week, and you see J.J. Pegues, with the exception of the Florida game. It is third or fourth down and 4. Turn around and hand it to him. I take the Scatteraboo kid over J.J. Pegues in a heartbeat.
That's saying something. And then how about that? I mean, for Arizona State, just to be in the position that they're in right now, when you look at, when Kenny Dillingham took over for Herm Edwards and kind of, repeated the same record. And then this year, basically the opposite record. What are they, 9-3 going into the Big 12 championship game?
10-2.
10-2. Yeah, I mean, what a season.
I saw the scroll again. The new DC at Florida State came from...
Well... That's interesting. I don't even know where that
Somebody didn't want Steve to report that news.
Anonymous. We'll try to get Steve back on the line.
So I was thinking about this. I think there's 3 tiers. Let's assume Alabama's the 12th team because you and I would love that, David. So I think there's 3 tiers of teams. I think there's 3 tiers of 4, basically. The first 4 are the teams that are loaded with talent enough and their play warrants, to me, them being top tier. That's Oregon, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State. I think those 4 have the best opportunity. Then there's the next that have enough talent but need circumstances to play out, and that's going to be Penn State, Alabama, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. I think we don't know everything we need to know about them, but that's the second tier. And then to me, the third tier, which would need almost a miracle, to me would be the Arizona State, let's say SMU, Boise, and whoever's left. I can't remember at this point. Indiana. So that's kind of the tiers for me. But I think that top 4 tier to me is head and shoulders above even the second tier.
And all that, the one team I think that does not belong is Indiana. I just don't think they belong there.
But do they belong just, I mean, if we're going to bring in schedule to it, that's a fact that you have to look at. But it's also, only one loss, and that one loss is to Ohio State. Now that loss looks a little bit worse after the lashing they took at, well, not lashing, but the loss that they took to Michigan.
Steve, let me ask you this. Who's the biggest mystery? Because I've got one exactly. That's Notre Dame might be really good, and they might be a total product of a soft schedule, and I don't know which it is.
Is this the same old song that we've been singing for years?
I think it's worse this year. I think they're a total mystery.
Oh, I mean,
something happened last week, and it's a terrible thing to say, but I always thought that Notre Dame's a little soft.
Yeah.
Did you see the play where the defensive tackle from Notre Dame just hauled off and punched the guy from USC on the ground? That was a haymaker.
Mm-hmm. Right into the face mask.
Yes. And I'm thinking, you know what? They might be a little tougher than I thought. Mm-hmm. They might actually have a little fight in them. So that one, and I do like their quarterback. I just do.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, you bring up the toughness, and they also had to have fight in that game against USC because USC kind of had them not necessarily on the ropes, but was getting them up there against the ropes, and then the turnover, and it was like it just all unraveled from there for USC. But Lincoln Riley, is he the head? I know that we keep on going on this little carousel, but they haven't got rid of him to this point. But if anyone's up for losing their job, it's got to be Lincoln Riley, right?
Like I said, let's look at like Game 5 next year. Miller Moss just announced he's going to the portal.
Yep.
So he's gone.
He's going to Florida State.
Maybe.
Actually, it wouldn't shock me if he went to FSU. It wouldn't shock me if he went to Georgia. I think the kid's going to have his pick.
Yeah.
I don't think he would go to Ole Miss just because Austin Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
I think the job's his next year. I could see him going to State.
Yeah.
I could see him going to LSU if Nussmeier decides to leave.
It's going to be a crazy offseason, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's not even off-season.
I know. It's not going to be off-season for 2 months. But
it's like what Lane Kiffin says. Imagine free agency in the NFL before the season ended.
He's right. He's 100% right.
It's stupid.
It really is stupid. But I think one of the worst parts about it, Steve, is that these guys, all right, so Miller Moss, what does USC have left this year? Maybe a bowl game, right? I don't even remember what they're...
They got like the Arizona Bowl or something, probably.
Yeah, I think they're 6-6 or something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're going to a bowl game, but you're going to have half the team opt out.
Right. So he waits basically till their season is over to announce that he's going to be hitting the portal. But outside of that, you've got some of these other guys who are playing for, Georgia's got a cornerback, one of their top cornerbacks. He's announced he's hitting the transfer portal. Like, why are these guys announcing these or even making these type of decisions before they have their, end of season meeting with the head coach?
Greed.
Yep.
Greed, yeah.
100%.
Easy answer.
I am better than what you think. I deserve more money. I deserve more playing time. I deserve more because I am, a 20-year-old prodigy, I guess. But then they're going to get somewhere else, and guess what? You're going to get planted on your butt and go, maybe I should have stayed at Georgia.
Yeah. Everybody's got that uncle who's a, quote, business major, and they talk about use your leverage. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I didn't realize this until a few weeks ago. I was watching a documentary. Ken Farley, he's the guy who...
Marcus Dupree.
He was basically representing Marcus Dupree.
Yeah.
He ended up in prison.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I heard it
good.
Yeah, I agree. What a mess they made of that guy. What a talent. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. I remember when Philadelphia, Mississippi played, I think it was Meridian. And I watched the highlights of it. And he just made this kickoff return where he's just like gliding through people. And everybody's just like trying to reach out and grab him. It's like, that's not going to work, man. You're not going to grab him. You better hit him. And nobody wanted to hit him.
Yep.
And I thought he's going anywhere he wants to go. And he ended up at Oklahoma with Barry Switzer.
One last question for you, Steve. Does Texas have what it takes to upend Georgia in the SEC championship? Do they give them a little bit of payback?
I think their defense is good enough. Quint Ewers, his ankle, I think, is okay. They're going to, shoot it up anyway. Luckily, they got that two-headed monster. They can put Arch in there for a play or two.
I was going to ask you, because they're going to make the playoffs anyway, you think there's any chance they just rest Ewers and let Arch play?
I think Texas wants to win the SEC in their first year, so I don't think so. I think that what they're going to do is go out there and give it everything. And they want to walk off the field with that SEC sign and bring it back to Austin.
Will they plant that in the middle of the field?
Get me
in
started.
Memorial Stadium, they will, not in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, but they'll take it home and do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I just think that defense, and I'm sorry, but the quarterback at Georgia,
Carson Beck.
Yeah, he's just a little inconsistent to me.
Yep.
He's been largely inconsistent this year, hasn't he?
And also, they got too many people dropping the football when he throws it to them. Except for the tight ends. The tight ends are catching the ball.
That's been their bread and butter for a few years now, especially
Delp
after.
is good.
Oh man, he really is good. But I'll tell you what, Brock Bowers, what he's doing at the next level has just been absolutely fun to watch, and really glad that I drafted him in fantasy football. Steve, we are out of time, my man. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time, a lot of your time this afternoon. And we're praying for you and hope that you're getting better, man.
You're going to take a couple of these little capsules, take a little nap, wake up and watch the third quarter of the Monday night game and go, what time's NCIS start?
There you go. Steve Barnes, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, Steve.
All right. Miss you guys.
Miss you too, bud. That is the senior writer for therebelwalk.com, always filled with great insight. We went a little long there, but hey, it's been a while since we've been able to have him on. So we will return and we will dive into officially the best and worst of the weekend. Hopefully, I guess. I shouldn't say officially when. Who knows what in the world we're going to be talking about when we get back. But we will take your calls, 850-215-6290.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Monday's weather. Tonight there will be a light wind out of the north, clear skies at 43. Sunshine tomorrow morning, about the same at 52. In the afternoon and evening, clear and a gentle breeze right around 9 miles per hour with a high of 55. About the same at 60 Wednesday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's the Season of New Traditions sales event going on now at Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months of the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento or a new 2025 Kia Sportage. Take your next holiday adventure in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 105 East 15th Street, or anytime at BillbirdKia.PanamaCity.com.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento or new 2025 Kia Sportage with $1,748 per month per $1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. Not to be combined with other finance offers and not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Billbird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 1/2/25.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Northwest Florida's home for college football bowl games. WGSX Linane, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And powered by Panama City Toyota.
What does it take to live an uncommon life? Here's former Super Bowl winning coach Tony Dungy with today's uncommon moment.
What am I going to do with my life is a question we all ask. But the bigger question isn't what we're going to do, but why we're going to do it. Before you decide on what to do, figure out what your purpose is. Then decide what to do. How to accomplish that purpose, not on the basis of money, convenience, or availability, but on the basis of what you're passionate about. Use your gifts, pursue your passions, and work towards your purposes. When you do that, you'll find that work isn't a burden, but a gift from God. And it can be a key to living a fulfilling life.
New York Times best-selling author Tony Dungy, author of the popular Uncommon book series. More at CoachDungy.com. That's CoachDungy.com.
It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida, where we're taking the inside drive weekdays from 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley. I'm David Hayes along with Coach Brian Haddad, and we are going to dive into the best and worst of the weekend. If you have a best and worst of the weekend, call in with it now at 850-215-6290, or you can text it into that same very number. We'll start in with a text that I had earlier from Trevor, actually Ohio Brad, Cleveland Brad, as he wants to be called now. He said earlier I was talking about Ohio State throwing a little bit of shade. Not shade even. I was just saying I love when they lose, you know. And he said, same here, buddy, except flipped around with Alabama. I think those are the two teams. Yeah, Georgia's on their way up there. But, you know, it's Alabama, it's Ohio State. When those teams go down, America feels like they won. Like Oregon, give them a couple more years, maybe, if they keep it at a consistent rate. How many years do you think that it takes? Because look at Georgia now. They've won 2 national championships, but there's no signs out here saying we want Georgia.
It's not just time. Sometimes it's the way you do it, because I think in the mid-2000s, a lot of people felt that way about USC.
Yes, I did. And Florida had their little stretch, but that wasn't even that long of a stretch.
In the 90s, I think there were people who felt that way about Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. That was a little bit before my understanding of that.
Yeah, and they didn't like the wishbone, and because it was the spread was starting to come out everywhere, but Nebraska could still run the wishbone better than anybody else. So, but yeah, it's sometimes it depends on how you do it, but I mean, Alabama certainly has that. I mean, we've seen it across sports. The Yankees have it, and you know, a lot of people feel that way about like the Lakers and the Celtics in basketball. And you know, I mean, look, if you're not a fan of the team who has, you know, the most championships, you obviously don't want to see them win again. So Dodgers are about to jump into there if they haven't already.
Oh, my gosh. Just the signings that they make after they win the daggone World Series is enough. I already hate them as
just the fact that I think their current team's payroll in 2037 is like $1.2 billion or something.
Yeah,
now.
and
it's
$1.1 billion of that is deferred.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's, in 2037, they've got a heck of a payroll.
Oh,
ridiculous.
My gosh, man. We've got Duke Bryan on the phone, twin brother of Luke Bryan. Duke,
I like it.
Yeah, what's going on, brother?
Hey, fellas, how we doing today?
If we was any better, we'd probably not be here, but we'd still be talking sports no matter where we were. What's going on with you?
Fair enough. No, nothing. Just driving home. Just got off a long day of out there mowing the crops and wanted to talk a little bit about these flag planting situations.
Oh, yeah. Brian's a big fan.
Yeah.
While you were planting grass, he's over here planting flags.
Jeez.
Why, you don't like it, Brian?
I don't. It's small and petty, and you've already done the business on the feed. It's look at me and let me get on TikTok or whatever nonsense. Grow up, play the football game, enjoy it, and move on. But I'm old.
Well,
I'm get off my lawn. I'm that guy. So.
No, I mean, fair enough. I have a lot of old-fashioned takes on college football, Brian, but this is one that I don't really mind. I think if you want to avoid the flag being planted on your field,
win the game.
You got 60 minutes to do it. Now, I could go without let's talk about the $2.10 boys there in Tallahassee, 2 and 10. We'll talk about I'm a Florida State fan, so I can make fun of them. It's kind of like looking in the mirror, but
who's your brother pull for?
My brother, he's a Georgia Bulldog. He calls me a 63-3 boy. He don't like me.
63-3
boy. I think the part that I don't like is like when the Florida boys got there in the end zone and started scraping their feet on sacred ground. That's the part that I don't like. Now, I don't mind the flag planting. I'm glad like Mike Norvell got in there and stopped it. It was good to finally see a little bit of smoke or a little bit of fire.
That's what Coach Brian said earlier.
Oh, that's perfect then, Brian. We might see eye to eye on a few things. You a wrestling fan, Brian?
I am.
Oh, my good. We can talk about a lot here. We ain't got very long. We ain't got very long.
That's right. No, well, but it's. I think we're close to the same, and I agree with you. Look, you don't want the flag planted when the football game, but I guess my problem is it creates a situation where the only outcome is a fight, and now you're bringing in the possibility of, coaches or police officers or security personnel getting injured. If you've had another situation where a bunch of idiots rush the field, then those kids could get injured. I just don't like it. I think it's over the top. But look, I understand they're kids too. It's just I wish it wouldn't happen. But
for me, it took a oops. For me, it took a little bit. My goodness, give me just a second here, fellas. I got a little indigestion here, indigestion. For me, it gave a little bit of love back to the sport for me, because one of my conspiracy theories is that rivalry games don't mean nothing anymore, because you got kids that are committed to some of these schools for 2 or 3 years, and then they flip to a rival. So for me, it just, I don't know, man. It put maybe that little bit of hope back in me that maybe college football is not totally dead.
The sad part is how many of those guys who planted the flags are going to be playing for those rivals.
Well, isn't that the truth? I would have agreed with you had it not been for every one of those games featured a fight during the game.
Yeah,
it was an exciting. I think that's what bothers me the most. I enjoyed rivalry week. I thought there was some good hard. I saw some hits I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And a lot of them actually didn't get flagged for nonsense. It was good, hard rivalry weekend. I want to beat you as bad. But to me, when that game is over, that's when I want it to, I don't know. Again, old-fashioned, but.
Well, I do have a question for you, fellas, and then I'll let you get back to your regular scheduled show there. But I want to, maybe you guys talked about this earlier, but like I said, I was out there watering the crops. I want to know what y'all think about Ryan Day. Like, there is no way, unless Ohio State wins the national championship, regardless of what the AD said yesterday, there is no way Ohio State can sit on that man for another year after losing to this Michigan team in the horseshoe.
We just had this discussion with Steve Barnes, and I've been saying, after they won 2 in a row, when Michigan won 2 in a row, it's like, how do you continue to, if you lose 3 in a row, there's no way. And then when you lose this one, There's absolutely no way, right? But I think if the AD is content with regular season success and postseason appearances, then maybe they don't move on. Then you have the other question after you get past that part of the equation is who do we go out and get? Who's replacing Ryan Day at that point in time? I'll put it like this. If I was a fan of Ohio State, I would say we've got to figure out something. I'll take a year of rebuilding to try to actually get over the hump. And that hump is a big one who wears winged helmets in the Michigan Wolverines. But yeah, just if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm just absolutely flabbergasted, honestly, at us losing that game. And then how do you continue to roll out a coach who was born on third base, as the previous Michigan head man pointed out to the world?
Oh, I like that answer right there. And then one question for you, Coach Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are going to talk about this today, but where do we go from here with the bloodline?
The new or the OG?
No, well, that's the thing. I don't know. They're planting some long-term seeds with CM Punk and Roman Reigns that I found pretty interesting. That's clearly what Punk was saying to Paul Heyman is, I'm going to call in this favor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when. I think that's going to be much longer out. I think it all depends on when they decide to bring The Rock back in. If it's ahead of the Royal Rumble, that's going to take some shape. If it's after the Royal Rumble, then it might be Rock Roman. I don't know, but I can't figure all of it out yet. And to be honest with you, that's what I kind of love. I kind of hate that. I kind of love that I can't figure out exactly what they want to do. But I would think come WrestleMania, it's got to involve The Rock in some form or fashion. Just what shape that takes, I'm not sure yet.
I couldn't agree more. And just to add one more piece, if this doesn't end with Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, then it was all for nothing.
Yeah. The only thing that might throw a wrench into that is they might be trying to set up Rock Cody first because there's something there too. So there's so many ways they can go. It's really a fun time to be a fan. So I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'd love to talk more about that with you one day. Maybe I can come sit in on a Monday. But for now, fellas, I'm gonna let y'all go.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, fellas, and yeet yeet.
Yeet, yeet. That is Duke Bryan, ladies and gentlemen, twin brother of Luke Thomas Bryan. Oh, man, always fun when he calls in, and, always fun when you get another opportunity to talk a little wrestling there, which also reminds me, February 8th, Jack Patterson is going to be helping put on Wrestling Against Cancer again.
Great event.
I believe this is maybe the 9th or 10th installment of this, 4th or 5th that I've been involved with it. Should be doing the ring announcing again, and the proceeds are going to be going to Ryan Holland, which is actually my cousin. He's dealing with a very serious type of cancer that affects like his nasal passages. And so that'll be February 8th. So go ahead and put that into your calendar. And even if you can't make it, donate what you can, because I don't know exactly what this is between him and Ryan Mulvey, the closest that I've ever been, which I mean is pretty close, to cancer. Not saying that I haven't had friends and stuff with it before, but really they weren't friends as much as kind of, people that I knew, whereas this is family. So it would mean a lot to me, for my family, really, in general, to be able to help him with his medical expenses that are surrounding with this cancer right now. I know that it's tough for him and tough for his kids and for his wife, Kristen, and she's been a rock for them. So if you guys can come together February 8th, we're going to be hosting Wrestling Against Cancer, and it'll be for Ryan Holland and his cancer expenses. So his medical expenses, rather. So put that in your calendar. We're going to have them on in the month of January and so Wrestling Against Cancer. What else? What direction do we want to go now, Coach? Oh, best and worst. That's what we were going to do. We've got 2 minutes, so we're more than likely going to be pushing that one down to 5:40 this afternoon.
Just real quick, this is kind of a dual. I hate everything,
Absolutely.
Because the true worst every week's the Titans. We'll save that for the end. But I really hate whoever made the decision to move the Egg Bowl off of Thursday night.
Yeah.
that game grew nationally in prominence because it was Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand ABC is making some calls now. I mean, they pigeonholed South Carolina where they did Saturday morning because they wouldn't agree to the Friday. Whatever, it was probably that. But here's what bothers me even worse. So they move them to Friday. At least they're getting the 2:30 primo ABC coverage. That's great. What goes opposite? Another NFL game.
Yeah, an NFL game.
As if they don't have 3 of them on Thursday.
Now, when it was, I think the last time that I remember seeing the Egg Bowl on Thursday was that Elijah Moore tinkle in the end zone, if you will.
But there were so many years in a row where it was.
What time? Was it always at night, though, like 6 o'clock?
Yeah, it was always a night game.
But at that point in time, they were not really competing with an NFL game.
It was usually 2 NFL games.
Yeah.
There was one year where there were 3, but usually you were kind of, if you watched 2 NFL games, you were kind of eager to see a college game.
Yeah.
And you knew how hard-hitting and nasty that game could be. And so it brought in people. Normally the Egg Bowl would only be watched by the state of Mississippi and alums. And it brought in people across the country watching it. And fortunately, they had some pretty exciting games that I thought drew people in, and it almost became kind of a Thanksgiving staple. And I hate that it's not there. And I even further hate the fact that they were getting a good spot on a good network, and then the NFL threw Mahomes up against them. Come on. I don't like colleges playing Friday because it takes away from high school. I don't like the NFL going head up with college.
You have your days.
Yes.
You have your days. And I agree with that sentiment 100%. I'll also say this, though. The first couple of quarters for the Chiefs and Raiders, it felt like, all right, well, you know how this game is going to go. The Chiefs are going to take care of business, but that's not been Chiefs-like this year. So I did switch over to the Egg Bowl, especially when I saw that Mississippi State had the lead. So it's like, what could happen
I thought you were going to say because the Chiefs were playing, you knew how it was going to end up.
Well, but that's the thing is it's opposite this year. It's like if the Chiefs are playing, it's probably going to be a one-score game. They're going to win.
Yeah, they still get their result.
How are they going to win? Is it going to be on a false start that turns into an illegal shift? So many different ways, but we don't have time
for that
Miles? Right now.
Hashtag NFL rigged.
We are going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, it's time for the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd Mueller.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
We're up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Hurricane Helene.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Monday's weather. Tonight there will be a light wind out of the north, clear skies at 43. Sunshine tomorrow morning, about the same at 52. In the afternoon and evening, clear and a gentle breeze right around 9 miles per hour with a high of 55. About the same at 60 Wednesday, and we'll have sunshine. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Construction is wrapping up on Panama City's newest Oyster Bar. The Local 115 opens in December on Harrison Avenue. Local drinks, local sports, and local food. Delicious oysters, crab cakes, steamed seafood, gumbos, salads, paninis, wings, wine, and cold beer. Nothing fried. That's right. No fried foods at Local 115. Amazing local food with an exciting local sports and mural theme. Eat like a local at the Local 115.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
Hi, this is Orlando Magic guard Jalen Suggs. Listen for select Orlando Magic games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to my boy David Hayes and the Afternoon Underdogs.
We are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We are your spot for select Orlando Magic games. We will have the Magic this Friday evening, and they are going to be taking on the Philadelphia 76ers, and that tip will be at 6 p.m. But this is the PCB Hobby Takeover, and that is brought to you by PCB Hobby, of course. So make sure you go check them out. I'm sure they had a great Black Friday sale, or Black Friday this last Friday, and we're going to hear about it from Todd Mueller, the owner. What's going on, Todd?
Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on?
Happy Monday.
All right. So we had a lot going on. Thanksgiving was quite a week. Of course, I didn't take a single day off. I decided to stream on Thanksgiving, so that was fun.
Yeah, I noticed you subbed out the captain's hat for a turkey hat.
I had a turkey hat on. That is true.
Nice.
Had a turkey hat on for most of the stream in the morning. Sharon and I did some streaming. I think we started around 11 o'clock, 10 or 11, and we brought some food up to the headquarters and did some streaming and had a good time. Then, of course, Bill joined me, and we went the rest of the evening and rest of the afternoon together, and that was a lot of fun. We had a good time. It was a great Thanksgiving. We got to hang out and sell some stuff, so that was really cool. Black Friday was off the chain. It was apparently crazy at the shop. We had so many deals going on. It was just ridiculous. Saturday was just as crazy. We also had Friday Night Magic. There's just a lot going on. Of course, we have our normal stuff going on this week. Julia is not here. She happens to be off today, but the normal norm is going on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night events and stuff like that.
Pokemon Sunday.
Yeah, you can check the calendar of events on our website, pcbhobby.com. Should be updated with all the events going on. And I believe we still have specials going on at the shop. Obviously, it's Cyber Monday today, so visit our streams. We're PCB Hobby everywhere for our streaming on eBay. And check us out. I believe we have a TCG stream going on right now, a comic stream going on, sports card stream. So if you missed breaking some boxes, Josh is back with that. He's rocking and rolling today. A lot of new product. Apparently we have Bowman U came in.
Yep.
So he's breaking that. And Bowman Draft, I think, is next week.
This week.
This week. I'm still thinking of last week. This week.
That's what happens when you don't take a day off.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then, so we got a lot of that coming in. That's going to be, pretty much one of the hottest products of the year.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, what was interesting to me, we knew we were obviously going to have a lot of people come in Black Friday and then Saturday and even yesterday, looking to buy Christmas gifts and all like that. But we had a lot of people who came in, and it was actually fun for me because they said they heard us talking about it here on the radio about, bring your collections in if you're looking for some Christmas money. And we've actually bought a lot of different collections over the last couple of days, all different sports, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I think even got Star Wars stuff today. So there's a lot of new material in. So while a lot of you would have come in over the last couple of days, I would tell some of you come back out because we're literally putting new merchandise out every day, not just the new boxes that are constantly coming in, but ton of new singles.
Sure, absolutely. And of course, we have a lot of coin stuff too. that we're getting new collections in on as well. Emma's bought several collections, and apparently Drew has too. So there's a lot of just different stuff. So hit us up if you're looking for anything for Christmas, anything specific for Christmas. We're going to have that stuff, and again, a lot of different sales and a lot of different promotions going on throughout the rest of December. So I'm pretty excited it's December. Hopefully everybody was safe for Thanksgiving. I didn't hear any. I don't really watch the news.
Didn't eat too much,
but I didn't see anything too negative go on. So that's good. We did eat a lot, which was good. So what's crazy? What's about to go down? I leave Wednesday morning for Japan.
Japan.
Konnichiwa, correct. So Sharon, myself, and a couple of us are going to Japan Wednesday morning, and we will be arriving Thursday, and we will be there for about a week and a half. Wow. So we're super excited about that. We're going to have a lot of fun. Believe it or not, the day after we get there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the Tokyo Comic Con. And so we are literally going to the Tokyo Comic Con, one of the largest cons that they have in Japan every year. And we get to go, we get to visit with some of the artists that are going to, that are from Japan, which is really, really, really neat. And we are going to get to travel around Tokyo, and we're going to go to the fish market, the renowned fish market. If you've ever watched TV and saw the big, huge tuna being cut up at the fish market, that's the place. And so we're super excited.
Have you ever been to Japan?
I have never been to Japan. Sharon has, so this will be her second time to Japan.
Oh, so she's like y'all's tour guide.
Oh yeah. She knows all the ins and outs. It's actually hilarious because she's like, we can get this guide and we can do this, we can do that, and she plans everything. She's the master planner.
Very cool.
Of these trips. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But I just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody has any questions when I get back, I won't be here next Monday, but the Monday after I'll be back. Of course, I'll be able to download everything to you guys and let you know how the trip went. But get your questions together and get ready, because we actually, on the 14th, the day after we get back, we have another artist coming in town for the comic stream. Sajjad Shah. He's actually a renowned artist on mostly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he's done many other books as well. And he will actually be in-house at our studio for Saturday and Sunday. So that's going to be extremely cool. Then we're also, on the 28th of December, going to have Nate Melendez, also known as Nate Wah, and he does a lot of turtle stuff, turtle books, and various things. So, and they'll be there. We'll be running him on the stream on the 28th. It's going to be exciting. Also, if you watch our coin stream and you listen in, on the 28th, I will be coin streaming for a session. So I usually don't. I haven't been lately, but if you want to see the captain in action with coins, you will see me on the 28th.
Let me ask you this, because I think I know the answer because I know you, but so you're going over to Japan, vacation / Comic-Con, but there's no way you're going to miss an opportunity to find something related to coins over there.
Correct.
How big is coin collecting a big thing in Japan? I'm curious.
It's a thing.
Okay.
I can't actually put my finger on if it's a big thing, and here's why I say that. They actually do have a large convention for coins every year.
Okay.
I actually am very interested in visiting some coin places, and here's why. Japan, not that long ago, maybe in the teens, 1915, stuff like that. They actually had rectangle silver coins. That's cool. That was the way they made payment, and they had rectangle, and they're so cool.
Yeah.
Everybody loves them. I would love to get my hands on a hoard of that.
Okay.
So that would be really cool. So I'm going to look out for some of that type of stuff. And of course, it'd be really cool to pick some of that up and bring it back.
When you first said teens, I'm like, we just passed the teens. The real teens.
The real teens, the 19 teens.
And no, I wasn't alive, David.
I'm sorry.
He was born shortly after.
Yeah,
Anyways.
Right in the roaring 20s.
Roaring 20s, right. So super excited to see that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll pick up some material there. So anyways.
Yeah, on the sports end, I mean, you mentioned it. One of the fun things, before I get into draft, because draft's one of my favorite things all year, Todd,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be tapping that vein this week. Yeah, but so Bowman U, well, we've talked about it on the show several times because it's been such a popular product. And it's the college football product, and it's got, all the fully licensed Alabama guys, Auburn guys, Ohio State guys, Michigan guys, everybody. What's really fun about it this year that I did not expect is they've done a really good job at Fanatics of covering every price point. And what I mean by that is normally, let's say there's hobby boxes and blaster boxes. Like that's kind of what they did last year.
Right. I heard that they changed it up this year.
They have 5 formats this year. So they have Breaker's Delight, which for the people who don't want to collect a lot of cards, they just kind of want the bigger hits.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 10 cards in the box, 3 are autographs, a couple of bigger hits, whatever. They have that, and that's a little more expensive. Then you have the jumbo boxes, where it's
a volume of cards in those boxes,
right, like
but multiple hits.
Yeah, like 100 cards, but 3 autographs, like 6 or 7 numbered cards, whatever. Then about $100 less than that, you have the hobby boxes. Right. Another 90 some odd cards, 2 autographs, great, bang for buck there. This year, a thing that they did that I've never seen before, and it's a brilliant idea, they have mega boxes. I think we have them for $75 or something like that. Guaranteed autographs, 60 cards, like you don't see that.
Yeah.
And so that's a very good price point. And then below that, you have the blasters at $30, $35.
Their formatting has been fantastic lately.
They're covering every base, which I think is wonderful.
And it makes sense. And that's the thing is that if you have a budget, you can buy into the newest, brand new product that everybody wants. And again, as we talked about many times on the show, it's a Christmas present inside of itself. Yeah. You get it, and then you get to open it.
And what I loved was people would come in and they're collectors and, they like the higher dollar things, they have their own jobs, they make money. And so they were looking at the Breaker's Delight, but then their 6-year-old kid is into college football, but he knows these cards are going to get tossed around the room. So he got, blasters for the kid because it's a lot of cards. It's fun to learn and collect, but, he's not shelling out, several $100s on that. It's like a $30 box. So I love the fact that they are hitting all the price points and allowing kind of everybody to be a part of it.
And remember, if you're too far away from the shop, or you can't make the hour drive because you're, wherever, the fact of the matter is if you go on to eBay Live and go to PCB Hobby, Monday through Friday, we break this product. Yeah. You can buy it for the same price on the stream.
That's right.
We can break it and it can get shipped to you. So you can see what you got right away and get it shipped. And the funny thing is, you actually don't even have to break it. You can actually buy the product and just ask to have it shipped.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool. We kind of cover all the bases with that. So.
And it's also a cool place for people to hang out, just in those 100%. Rooms with the group chats and all of that stuff. Yeah. And you can be a part of the excitement.
Well, and you can learn a lot.
We get crazy, and you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
We get so many comments. We literally just had a comment come through today on our eBay messages, and people send us comments all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, I love your coin stream. It's so entertaining, but I learned so much information from you guys, and I really, really appreciate that. And literally, we got one today. And so people chime all the time in and tell us, that they appreciate us. And so it's kind of neat to be able to do that and to provide for the community information that people want to hear.
Well, and I laugh because the Sports One with Josh is very much a lot like this show. I mean, a lot of the chat back and forth is, who do you think's making the playoffs? Yeah. And then Josh will give his boneheaded idea, and then I'm always watching, so I chime in and throw my grenade, from the back. And,
of course.
But it's always a blast.
You blow up his lawn trying to keep him off your lawn.
Correct, exactly.
So Josh always, every now and then he'll just throw out something trying to figure out if I'm still in the room or not. And he finds out usually pretty quick.
He's smart by that then, right?
But he'll do that. But no, I mean, it's an absolute blast in there. And then where I want to go next is, and this is the big product this week, Bowman Draft comes out Wednesday, and it is, if you're a baseball card collector, this is the thing, that so many Bowman firsts are in draft now.
Correct.
And it's because the guys are playing big-time college baseball now, and David, we've talked about this before, the pipeline to major leagues is a little quicker than it used to be.
A lot quicker.
And so these guys in draft, a lot of them, I mean, last year we're talking about Langford was in draft, Skeens was in draft. I mean, it was just a year ago. These guys are getting their first Bowman card, and, a couple of them are in the All-Star game. This year coming up, if you're a Florida Gator fan, you've got Caglianone in Bowman Draft this week. This is going to be his first. And they did they decided to do this. I don't think they've done this since Shohei because he's Jack Tani and he pitched and hit. They've got his basic first Bowman hitting, but they also have a short print of him pitching.
Nice.
That's going to be a big chase.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to be right up there. The only guy they held was Charlie Condon from Georgia.
Okay.
They're going to hold him for Bowman next year, but everybody else is.
Let me ask you this: Is some of the rookies actually in Bowman draft? So, like you said, Skeens, he did make it to the majors, right?
He did.
So, will this be his first Bowman draft regular card?
No, it'll be his first Bowman draft regular card.
That's what I'm talking
his
about.
Rookies, the first rookies in Bowman were in Bowman Chrome.
Right, but you know that this is still considered one of his first actual rookie cards because the first year Bowman cards are not considered rookies technically. So,
you almost get 2 years of rookie collecting these days.
Well, first
when
card.
you bounce that quickly,
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's
do.
what's amazing about this product is that you can actually get their full rookie card, which will say rookie card on the card, which they required them to do that years ago, and which I love, by the way. And thank God, right? Because trying to figure that out was
But let's talk about that. I mean, so the reason, like, we've talked about this a million times. I was out of this for 25 years.
Yeah.
What I remember is Derek Jeter had 5 years of cards that would say rookie star on it or something. Chipper Jones is the same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Jeter had cards from 93 to 97. If you want to get technical, he had a 92 Stadium Club members only card.
Correct.
When they decided to standardize it, put that rookie shield on it, and that's the rookie, it made it so much better for collectors
100%.
because guys like Todd and I, we had to have this like psychotic memory of whose rookie was what year. You know, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God it was from 91 and down. It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
You knew whose rookie it was. You looked at the stat on the back and, you know, it was a 92 card or a 91 card or a 90 card, and it was the same stats on the top line and the bottom line. You knew it was a rookie card. You could easily do it from then down, and that was awesome. You know, but the funny thing is that this isn't the first time that Topps kind of messed up. Try 1961, where Carlton Fisk, Carl Yastrzemski says rookie star on it, and that's not his rookie.
60.
And everybody thinks that's his rookie, but it's not. His star rookie was actually in 1960.
My favorite one, and you'll remember this one, 77 and 78.
Yep.
My guy, Dale Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a quad card in 77 that said rookies.
Right, which was his rookie.
Correct.
Right.
In 1978, another quad card also says rookies. The funny thing about both of them, he was a catcher on both because that's how he came into the league.
Right.
So Dale Murphy is on a quad rookie catcher's card 2 years in a row.
Right.
But Todd's right, 77
is considered his rookie.
Is considered the rookie.
Right.
A lot of people think the 52 Topps Mantle is his rookie. It's not.
It's not. His 51 Bowman is his actual rookie. So that's the funny thing, yet it's not the most sought after. And I know why, because they decided to dump in the Hudson most of his cards.
And they were the little minis and
stuff like that. So in 1952, he was a late Topps series rookie, which they produced a lot less of them. And again, when they got rid of most of them, because let's be honest, people got tired out throughout the year of buying the same packs over and over and over, that when the fourth or fifth series came out, they ended up throwing a bunch of that stuff away. Like I said, in the Hudson, I joke. I mean, I don't know if that's really where they
very
ended
well
up, but
could be.
Or to another country.
The fact of the matter is, though, that's why there's not that many Topps 52 rookies of his card. But they only called it a rookie because it was his first Topps card. You know, if there was Topps in 1951, well, then there you go. We would have had a 51 Topps rookie, but there wasn't. So Bowman from 1951 was actually where Topps rookie was. Or excuse me, where Mantle's rookie was, and I do have that card. That card's a beautiful card, and I love it. But I do not have a 52 Topps. I mean, I could go buy one, but it's almost like why? It's always been the chase for me. And not to change the subject, but it's always been a chase for me to actually get one over the counter.
That's right.
And so I think that, to me, a true business person / collector, that's what they like to do and find. Again, if you have a bunch of money, sure, you can acquire anything, but is it really that fun? It's much more fun for me to find it.
Agreed.
Yeah. And just like, it's the same thing. We just bought a comic collection. In fact, it's being delivered tomorrow. And it's got a Spider-Man #1 in it. Ooh, which is big. That's a big boy book. But it's got 1 through 200. So it's got a bunch of key books in it. And so I would love going out, finding collections, finding the deals, finding that stuff and being able to acquire it. That to me is where it's at. And so me and several of the guys and gals at the shop love doing that. And that's part of the, I guess, draw to have a shop like this. In fact, I was sitting down the other day with Bill, and him and I were chit-chatting, and I was like, is this not the best job ever? Is this not the best job ever?
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. We get to come to work and deal with collectibles all day long.
All day.
Like, how crazy is that? I mean, and we get to make money doing it.
And it's the stuff that comes through. I mean, we try and get all of it, and sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But just seeing.
Right. Brian was telling me that a guy came in and had some Walking Dead cards. I mean,
amazing
you
stuff.
Get to see pretty much everything. I have seen the craziest coins, and I've told this story on air before about how I was told by a shop owner when I first started that everything will walk through the door. And it's true. Everything has walked through the door. Too many times almost for my liking. But yes, everything walks through the door.
Does it get harder to say no more with time or easier?
No, it never gets easier. When you're a collector, I mean, believe it or not, I got my first 1795 silver dollar, which technically is not the first silver dollar. 1794 was the first silver dollar, but the collectible one that you can at least aspire to get and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg is the 1795. It's called a flowing hair dollar, and that actually came through the door raw one day, and I made a deal with the people that I would send it off and get it graded, and this is what I would offer if it was real. And sure enough, it came back real, and I bought it. And I still have that in my collection. And so yes, I really have got to see just about everything. Now, there's some things that are so rare that have never actually walked through the shop.
Yeah.
The 1895 proof Morgan dollar, that's too rare. That's probably never going to walk through the shop. And a $4 gold piece called the Stella will probably never walk through the shop. But in jest, pretty much everything else does walk through the shop, and it's so cool because a lot of you guys don't remember. I've been doing this since 2008. I had a shop in Spanish Fort, Alabama, which the shop's still there, but I was there for 15 years, and so I'm coming up on 17 years in having an actual shop in the coin and card business.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But anyways, it's so much fun, and you can tell I still get excited about talking about it and seeing the collections and seeing the deals and all that type of stuff. And I even get excited about comic books now, which I was not a fan of. I didn't do comic books for years. We've only been in the comic book game for a year and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Year and a half. And technically, we've really only been into it a year.
Yeah.
That's when we actually really kind of started putting some resource towards it and things like that. So it's been nuts and crazy, but awesome. But I've always been a sports card collector, as you and I have talked about, Brian, the old days in the 90s and stuff like that. And I've always been a collector with that, and I've always been a collector of coins. The TCGs I've known about because we carried TCGs for years and years and years at the other shop, but I was never the head of kind of that part of the business. So anyways, very fascinating, very interesting, but I know we're out of time, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents in about loving the fact that things come through the door.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And so you hear the man. If you got something and you need a little bit of that Christmas money, what do you do, Todd?
Let's go. Bring it in.
Bring it on in. Right over there, Florida Lennon. It's over here on Back Beach. If you are taking Back Beach and you're headed westward, then you'll have to make a slight U-turn. But it's not even that big of a deal at all. And it's a beautiful shop. And if you're here in the area and you haven't checked out the shop, then you need to, and just go get you a lesson. And if you don't got time, then go check them out on eBay Live. All of it. Just PCB Hobby, right? PCB Hobby.
It.
That'll get you to where you need to go. Tom Mueller, ladies and gentlemen, for the PCB Hobby Takeover. It's absolutely been a happy Monday. We're going to keep it rolling. Hopefully. We're going to get into our best and worst of the weekend when we get back.
86 more worst.
Yeah, we never even dove into the worst that Coach Brian Haddad has. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
She's good. She make the trip? She did. Nice. Yep.
She's just a traveling dog.
She is a traveling dog. She loves the car, and it's great. Nice. But I gotta get your pet spayed or neutered.
Fair.
Reduce the pet population. Thanks, Bob.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Hey, struggling to make your brand memorable? At Jessica Larson Designs, I specialize in creating powerful logos, cohesive branding, and high-impact print and website designs that bring your business to life. I know how hard it is to stand out in today's market. That's why I work closely with small businesses across the U.S. to craft unique, eye-catching designs that leave a lasting impression. Ready to transform your brand from just okay to unforgettable? Let's connect at jessicalarsondesigns.com.
Who was hired? Who was fired? Trades, drafts, and playoffs. We're talking about it.
That trade, when it was made, was the right trade.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. This is our final segment of this beautiful Monday afternoon. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, and we are your radio home. Well, not Auburn Tiger football anymore.
No, they're done.
Yeah, they're done. They don't even get a bowl game, huh?
No.
Oh, man. Hugh Freeze not on the list of going anywhere, huh?
Because he's recruiting well? No.
Yeah. Even the Florida Gators right now, they've got a top class, one of the top classes. I mean, it's wild.
That just shows you how much that matters because, Auburn, what is this, 4 years in a row of losing seasons?
Yeah.
And
5 years in a row.
Obviously, last year they played out of their minds and then just let it go. What happened in this game, normally, Hugh Freeze would be in trouble. That double pass was a horrendous idea.
Oh, especially when
they're moving.
They
can cut it to one possession, and why in the world they called it, and why he threw it, and it just it was so bad.
When I say like I'm disgusted.
Look, it's one thing if you're short side, you don't have to make that long a throw.
Yeah.
He had to throw
from the
that would have been an impressive throw by Thorne.
Yeah, right, 100%.
So but. Because I think they're sitting at number 5 right now, and they're always in talk for flipping people. Hugh Freeze is, and look, there are some positives if you're an Auburn fan and what you see, but you got to remember, at the end of the day, you are what your record says, and they're 5-7 this year. It's got to improve next year.
You can save your job based on potential.
I guess so.
That's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Because he's had top recruiting classes, and what does it turn into? Well, we've got Cleveland Brad on the line with us. We've got about 6 minutes here. What do you got for us today, Cleveland Brad?
What's up, D. Hayes?
What's going on, my man?
Oh, man, you know what I'm about to talk about.
Oh, yeah, go ahead with it. I'm ready for it.
Worst of the weekend. or the best of the weekend.
I think we're doing a theme today where we're just kind of looking at the worst.
That's my fault.
We're just staying on the negative side.
Hey, it's all good. But anyways, yeah, I mean, obviously, Ohio State, I'm not going to hide. Here I am. I'm calling back in. We took our beating from Michigan, and I'll tell you, man, I called it, dude, like a quarter into the game. Like, you could just tell, out-physicaled. I think I was listening to, I think it was Coward earlier. I can't remember. But, there's no identity with the team.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, great wide receivers. And the crazy thing is, big shout out to Michigan. They played their strengths perfectly. Ohio State, I mean, this is a huge indictment on the coaching. They did not play to the strength of the team at all. I mean, when they had to go into a 2-minute type of situation at the end of the first half, they picked Michigan apart through the air. I mean, and they just, that was the only time they looked like they had any life, and then the rest of the game, they just ran it right into the teeth of Michigan's strength, which is their defensive line. And,
right.
I mean, if you're going to just spend all this money and build a team basically off of NIL, which is mostly wide receivers, so I guess you could say the identity is on the outside.
Yeah.
They didn't play to it, I mean, anyone could watch that game, and you're like, a wide receiver screen where, the quarterback gets rid of the ball in, a half a second would have been better than, running plays up the middle.
And you've got two talented running backs in Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, maybe one of the best running back rooms in the game, but that doesn't mean that you have to run it right down Michigan's throat. You can also utilize them in the screen game as well because they're talented either which way that you want to use those guys.
And here's the other part. Our O-line is decimated. I mean, there's third stringers starting. So for the coaching staff to just totally be ignorant to the flow of the game and the personnel that it's called for. That's why I said this is kind of the best and the worst of the weekend is okay, cool. If you were to ask an Ohio State fan at the beginning of the year, do you want to beat Michigan but not be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs? Or would you rather lose to Michigan and be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs? I would bet my last cent that actually Ohio State would actually rather, most Ohio State fans would rather be Michigan fans right now.
Would rather be Michigan fans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they won the game.
Yeah.
We got a chance for the playoffs, but that's how big the rivalry is. And, to me, it was an indictment of the entire staff. It just poorly managed. It just bad on every count. This was the worst loss to Michigan definitely in my life. I'm 37, and we've pretty my life of remembering football games. I'm talking maybe, I don't know, 12, 13 years old and older. We've pretty much dominated Michigan. So this is the worst stretch in my life, and it's easy to see why.
This may slightly predate you, but this is getting eerily similar to the John Cooper years.
Yes. So John Cooper, I was alive for John Cooper, but I don't remember him at all.
Yeah.
My memory of Ohio State is Jim Tressel and Layden.
What a vest.
So I remember, 7 or 8 wins against Michigan in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I think up until recently it's been very lopsided. But if you look back in history, that's how the rivalry has gone.
It also helps the rivalry, though, to an extent. Maybe not 4 in a row. Ohio State doesn't like that, but I think that
How many did Jim Harbaugh lose in a row to Ohio State? Was it 4?
Yeah. So next year,
it's not the end of the world.
So next year it's do or die time for Ryan Day, is what you're saying, right?
No, this year it is. If he does not win this is kind of the best and the worst, and this is my spin.
I got 30 seconds. Hurry up.
Hey, if he doesn't win it this year, he's gone.
Got to win the whole thing.
Championship, he's gone. He's gone for sure.
All right, man. Hey, Cleveland Brad.
Hey, Cleveland Cavs, baby. Cleveland Cavs.
There you go.
Beat the Celtics. Celtics suck. Bye.
Awesome stuff, man. I always love the calls. Real quick, give me your top 2 worsts.
Titans and Titans.
Titans and Titans.
They're so awful. And they're still not going to get the first pick. That's what's those are my 2 worst. The Titans are the worst team in football, and they're still not going to get the first pick. I'm done.
Oh, man. Best of the weekend, I'll say for me, 5 in a row for the Tide over Auburn. Worst of the weekend, Christian McCaffrey going down, and he will miss the next 6 weeks. We are out of time for today. Y'all have a great rest of your evening, and just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I. And as always, on Mondays,
the Titans should just stop playing football.
ESPN Northwest Florida is taking you on the ultimate road trip to see the Orlando Magic. It's the Hall and Hearts ESPN Northwest Florida Magic Express. You'll watch the game from a presidential suite loaded with free food and beverages.